I tell you what, I go around the world teaching all over the place, teaching people all about this idea of debt. And the idea that if you could get out of debt, you'd have some money. If you didn't have any payments, you'd have some money. And people look at me with two different problems with that. One is they get all sophisticated and academic. They start talking about, well, Dave, there's good debt. And Wall Street has proven that recently. Dave, debt is a tool to be used for your good. And I used to believe that garbage too. I was in college and they used to teach us this stuff about leverage and internal rates of return and net present values. And I'm not against education. I mean, my financial education is part of where I am now. Academia is a good thing. But you can't believe everything you hear to the extent it doesn't line up with this. You see, if you want to win, you ought to try finding some people that are winning and emulate or mimic what they are doing. If you hire a personal trainer and you walk in the first morning and your personal trainer is 400 pounds, we got a problem. Find a winner and emulate what they're doing. If you study, Forbes magazine has the 400 wealthiest people in North America that it publishes every year. 67% of them, 7 out of 10 of them, are first generation rich. They started with nothing, became wealthy. When they surveyed the wealthiest people in North America, not your broke brother-in-law with an opinion, but the 400 wealthiest people in North America, and they asked them what the most important key to becoming wealthy was, 75% of them said getting out of debt and staying out of debt. Broke people always want a car that they can't afford. They always want a stereo that they can't afford. They always want some clothing or a vacation that they can't afford. And let me tell you how you can tell if you can afford it. You have the money to pay for it. Unless you have the money, that by definition is you can't afford it. Because when you go into debt, then you're hooked to those payments. Now you're a slave. Jesus said it's tough to serve two masters. So what are we going to do about this? How are we going to get out? Well, we want to talk about breaking the bondage of debt and how you really do it in a real practical, hands-on, real-world application. See, the truth is, debt has been marketed to us so aggressively, so thoroughly, with such sophistication and such manipulation for so long that Americans and people all around the world have begun to believe all deep down within their heart that they will never financially be somebody unless they use debt to do it. And to imagine living without debt requires a complete paradigm shift, a completely new way of looking at things. Let's play with some new ways of looking at things. If you get a new way of looking at things, you know what's happened? Learning occurred. That's how you get a new way of looking at things. That's why when you read scripture and then 5 years later you read the same scripture and you go, whoa, I never thought about it that way. Why? Because you have a new way of looking at things. You had new eyes to see the exact same words and truth. Gives you a different feel, doesn't it? When I went broke and started over, I discovered this was the truth. That the borrower is slave to the lender is the truth. Regardless of how you feel, this is the truth. One of the benefits of going broke is I didn't care what anybody thought anymore. You get over worry about what people think. And you just go do whatever. And if they laugh at you, you just go, well, that's good. Just keep laughing. And you just keep going. How do you get out? Well, the first thing was I discovered, I was reading through Proverbs. If you read Proverbs over and over and over again, you get a master's degree in finance. It's amazing. When they quit caring what their broke friends think and their family who needs counseling thinks. They quit worrying about everybody else's opinion about what they drive because they want to change their family tree. They want to send their kids to college. They want to change and they get fired up. When you get fired up, you'll get out of debt. 5 steps out of debt. Let's look at them. The first one is you need to save money. We teach people the very first thing they do with money, what we call baby step 1, is save $1,000 as fast as you can. So you put a little bit of money aside as your first thing. Save some money. That's the first step. The next step is you got to quit borrowing more money. You can't get out of a hole while you dig out the bottom. So you got to say, that's it, no matter what happens. No matter what the situation, no matter how desperate or how intriguing or what the big opportunity is, I am not borrowing money anymore. It's a behavior modification issue. It's a matter of character. It's a matter of where you're going to live. I'm not borrowing money anymore. Next time I get ready to buy a car, I'm going to save a car payment for 10 months and write a check and buy cash. Number 4, sell something. You got to sell stuff. If it's not bolted down, dump it. Most of you don't need to sell your house. Most of you, that's not it. But some of you need to sell your car. Some of you are out of control. We're a people of action. We're not a people of passivity. Go make some money. It'll solve a lot of, there's only 2 sides of the equation, the income and the outgo. Got to get the outgo down and the income up. Creates margin in the middle for giving and saving. This is the formula. So you really do have to make some more money. There's a way you get there. You spoil yourself rotten by pouring on the coals, making a difference for a period of time. Intensity for a short period of time blows things up. Do these 5 steps. They will absolutely get you out of debt. every time. Think about it with me. If you had no payments and you used the debt snowball and you prayed and you worked extra and you quit borrowing more money and you sold stuff and you got completely out of debt, breathe that in, no payments. Whew, man, if you didn't have any payments, how much could you save? How much could you invest? I had a weird experience after we got completely out of debt. I was walking through the mall and I saw all this stuff and I could buy anything in there and suddenly I didn't want any of it. It was the weirdest thing. It changes your life. It releases you to be who you really are.